Hello there. Today I wanted to have just a brief sort of chat based on what happens if the tenant hasn't paid the rent. Well, if a tenant is falling into rent arrears, that can be distressing for both landlord and tenant, but there are steps you can follow to ensure the situation is resolved smoothly. Talk to your tenant. If you notice that rent hasn't been paid on its due date, then first get in touch with your tenant. A phone call or a text followed by a letter or an email will usually suffice. An email or letter will be easier to keep a record of should things escalate. It may be that a tenant has simply forgotten to pay or may have money troubles. And if they are having money troubles, you may want to arrange a payment plan with your tenant to ensure that they can pay back what they can afford. Or if not, then guide them towards applying for the housing element of universal credit to help them make up for the shortfall in rent. Remember to be polite and courteous in your correspondence. Issues such as this can be sensitive for both parties, and any unreasonable behaviour could affect your position if you eventually decide to go to court. If the tenant has an agreed guarantor and who has consented to their position as guarantor in writing along with yourself and the tenant, and has also seen a copy of the tenancy agreement, then you can request for them to pay any rent in arrears. If the tenant hasn't paid rent after 14 days, then contact the tenant again and the guarantor requesting payment of the rent. Again, a letter or email is best so that you can keep track of your correspondence. If the tenant falls into 2 months of rent arrears and has made no effort whatsoever to communicate or remedy the situation, then you may wish to begin the process of legally evicting them. It may be worth asking if the tenant will willingly surrender the tenancy to cut your own losses and prevent the situation from escalating to the courts with further potential costs for both parties. Otherwise, you may wish to serve a Section 8 notice on the grounds of rent arrears, which usually gives the tenant 2 weeks' notice to vacate the property. At this point, the tenant may pay back their arrears, which would invalidate the Section 8 notice if it went to court. So if the tenant challenges the eviction and the case goes to court, then you will have all evidence of your correspondence with the tenant to show that you have made every effort to inform them of their arrears and give them the opportunity to pay. This will definitely help your case to evict the tenant. Some insurance companies will offer landlord insurance that covers unpaid rent, and we actually can arrange that for you if required, and we do actually recommend it, because it might not happen to me scenario sometimes does. And so if your tenant falls into arrears, you are covered for the rent arrears, and also they assist in actually the sort of the legal way as well. If the tenancy ends with rent still outstanding, the landlord may be able to deduct any owed rent from the tenant's deposit. But be sure to contact the tenancy deposit scheme that your tenant's deposit is held in to find out more. Obviously, if you're using an ALA property mark protecting agent such as us, then not only will they be qualified in important aspects of lettings, including rent arrears, but they can also offer advice on how to claim back your arrears fairly and legally. In some cases, they may even be able to chase up arrears on your behalf. So basically what we're saying is, look, if you do having problems, speak to a good agent, because they can quite often assist you. And as I mentioned before, don't forget, setting up the tenancy is the best way forward and the easiest way, whereby you take out a rent guarantee and legal expenses insurance. It's not as expensive as you might think. Thanks for joining me. I hope that's been of assistance to you, and look forward to speaking to you soon.